Hello everybody! So about a week ago, Craig Perko uploaded a video about modding in Space Engineers, and his conclusion at the end of that video, which I will link in the description, was that if you haven't played Space Engineers in a while, now's probably a good time to get back into it. So I decided to take that advice, and let me just say he was absolutely right. I downloaded a bunch of mods, and you can see here this little shuttle here actually has a bunch of mod parts on it. The cockpit is one of the small cockpits. Most of the thrusters are micro thrusters, and of course a couple of updates have come out in the intervening few days as well. So that's interesting. There we go. So I have batteries and various other advanced antenna things going on here too. So I wanted to show you something that I did over the past week or so with a lot of mods, and maybe inspire you to show me some of the stuff you've been building. So here we go. If we head over this asteroid, up ahead here we have the SSV Resolute. Now this is a ship that I built using a bunch of mods. Oh, and let's not smash into it. There we go. So the first thing you'll notice is that it has this big cargo door here, and since recent Space Engineers updates have added lots of new functionality involving antennas, we can actually remote control this thing and open the cargo bay door without the help of even a capricious AI. How nice. So let's line ourselves up here and head on in. Let's try not to scrape ourselves on the deck too much. Now you can't see any visible flame from these micro thrusters. I guess they're RCS or something, but they actually work pretty well. Okay, did just smash him something a little, but that's fine. There we go. Sort of park ourselves right here. Okay, so here we are. You can see the cargo bay here, which I can raise and lower either automatically via remote control or using these buttons. And it's all piston-based, of course. These, incidentally, are mod parts. Normally you can't put a single button on a large ship, but with mods, you can. We have here some other ships that I've made just sort of playing around. This is a strike fighter, which uses the fighter cockpit mod, and these nice winglets here, which are really cool looking, if perhaps impractical in a vacuum. This is a connector-based design, so we have some connectors built into the hull here for ships like that. We also have another sort of scout ship here along the same lines, which also uses a connector and back. These wall panels, you'll be seeing a lot of stuff like this around the ship. These are, I don't even know the name of this mod, but basically it adds a bunch of interior wall blocks and also wall panels, just little almost decals that you can stick over other armor blocks and things like that. The one problem with them is that they're not colorable, so you're going to see an awful lot of orange and an awful lot of gray around the ship, but I have found creative ways of dealing with that, which I'll get to in a bit. So up here we have our power core. We have 4 large nuclear reactors as well as a couple backup reactors further forward in the ship. Our conveyor line running down from this room up here, which is the fab. So we have our assembler and refinery over here, and 2 large cargo containers. In front here we have the crew quarters, and this uses an awful lot of mod parts. We have some bunks here for our intrepid and curiously absent crew, as well as an armory and some more suits, some lockers, some terminals which you can plug into to get your internet fix, and a nice big window with an excellent view of our Titan engines and the port torpedo tube, which can be serviced from the torpedo room. On this side, we have the CIC. So this is the Command Information, or Combat Information Center. We have our sort of tactical display set up here, so we know where all of the enemy ships are. This is very BSG-ish. We have our little Dratus display up here. I like this mod. And some science terminals back here. The starboard torpedo tube. And then back here, we have the med bay with our medical beds with lots of, you know, readouts and alert lights and things like that. These mods are really nice. The only problem is the guy who does the textures, these dead tech mods, feels the need to stamp the logo on absolutely everything. So we have our dead tech branded medical bed, our dead tech branded backup pilot seat from which we can fly the ship if the bridge is destroyed or otherwise inaccessible. Back here, again, we have our dead tech branded arbitrary medical device and the actual medical room, which you can respawn in here. Over in this area we have hydroponics, so we have our alginator 5000s to generate oxygen and a little bit of, I guess this is either hydroponics or modern art, depending on your point of view. And we have our aesthetically pleasing but completely useless science console thing here. We also have a couple of just control panels that are grafted onto the floor so we can get access, because there's actually nothing in this room that has a control panel on it. In back here, we have the airlock area. So we have our suits here for surviving the hard vacuum outside, and this is actually an airlock. I mean, to the extent that it's possible to build such a thing in the game today. So you can imagine we'd be depressurizing right about now, and we open this door, and now we are in the cold, cold depths of space. Now, one really neat thing, this docking ring here is actually really, really cool. It is a functional docking ring, sort of like, you know, a docking ring from Kerbal Space Program or something like that. The only trouble is that because it's hollow in the middle, so that you can actually go through it into the other ship, the game engine doesn't really like that a whole lot. So you have to kind of come in at an angle, and then when you get in really close, just sort of slide over once the proximity sensors activate. Otherwise it won't dock. So let's go back inside. No, really. Let's go back inside. There we go. Alright. And we'll head on over to the other side of the ship now. So here we have the mess hall. We have our kitchenette area here, and our stoves, some tables. There's also a space coffee machine that comes with this mod, but quite frankly I just couldn't really use that with a straight face, so I didn't bother. We have some, you know, some computer terminals here which you can sit in if you would like to roleplay sitting at a computer while sitting at a computer. Technology, folks. Over here, this is just the crew quarters again, which we saw earlier. And we can go up these stairs, and up these stairs of course also being mods, and we get to the engineering room. So here's where all of our gyroscopes are, as well as some gravity generators. These orange panels, they scream engineering, because, you know, most of the other ones, like these guys down here, they're sort of like futuristic boardroom, and they've got like sort of generic info terminals and various other things like that. You know, we have some like exposed pipes here with some diagnostics and whatnot, but it's all very sort of businessy, whereas the big orange panels up here are much more sort of service. You know, you've got these big fuel indicators and things like that, which really seem to imply to me that this is intended to be used as engineering, so I decided to go with that. Another thing of note is the ceiling and floor tiles. There are actually quite a few of them, and I'm using those to great effect. So this block here, this grate, is the same as this block here. So we have the sort of the piping coming through the ceiling. And then this block here, which I'm sitting on right now, which has kind of the like the red and green wires there, is the same as, well, that's actually the same side of it, but down here, yeah, it's the same as this block, which has the pipes running through with the lights in the middle. So I really like these. And up here, last but not least, so we have our window here. And this is the foredeck with yet more airlocks. Sort of a nod to convenience here, because the ship is so big. If you just want to get in and fly the thing, you're really going to want to just come in somewhere close to the bridge, rather than walking the entire length of the ship like President Scrooge in Spaceballs. And then we have these, by the way, are intended to be corridor segments, but they're the only slope block in the game that is neither stairs nor armor, unless you want like a 2x1 slope, like a ramp or something. So I like to use these to just sort of accent staircases and things like that. So here's the bridge. We have a nice view of the planet below, and we have passenger seats as well as, I guess, co-pilot seats. So if we get on board here, we can see the ship as a whole kind of looks like a really bloated firefly, doesn't it? I wasn't really intending to go for that, but I'll take it. We have our starboard and port running lights here as well, and some landing lights for the cargo bay and back, so that you can see if you're coming in straight. If I turn the HUD back on, take a look over on the right at the power usage and the speed here. These Titan engines. I was planning originally on putting a gravitic drive using the artificial masses and some gravity generators, but eventually I realized I didn't need it, because these Titan engines just provide so much impulse. So if I sort of steer away from these asteroids here and fire them up, watch my speed and my power. So this ship, we can get it up to 64 meters per second in just a few seconds. And of course now we have to wait considerably longer for these 4 large thrusters to be able to slow us back down. And that was taking all of the energy that 4 large reactors plus I think 4 small reactors can put out, and then some. It was like at least 300% that amount for it to say overload. So, overview of the rest of the ship. We do have some weapons on here, but this really isn't intended to be a military vessel. It's more like a cruiser, a light cruiser, I guess. It's sort of designed to be a standalone ship that can go for extended periods without support vessels. Ideally, I was thinking of maybe making a survival world with just this ship in it, so that you sort of find this ship and use it as your mobile base of operations as you go about the process of mining things and building things. Wouldn't be very hard, but it would be fun, I think. We also have, I did a lot of interesting things with lighting on the ship. You kind of have to, because internally the, like I said, the wall panels are all the same color. So we have all these spotlights out here, but inside, you'll notice I've been using colored lights a lot. So, for anywhere there's an airlock, I use red lights to sort of indicate that there's space on the other side of that door. The crew quarters is sort of a neutral white light, so that it doesn't feel weird or stressful. In here, these lights are a little bit red tinted, sort of to indicate that important stuff is presumably going on in here. Here the lights are yellowish, sort of to accent the orange and give a sense that this is sort of a very operations-heavy part of the ship. In the mess hall, the lights are blue because, well, as we all know, that means you eat less food. We're cheap here, so that's important. And then, of course, we have the green lights in here above the beds to sort of indicate that the patients are not dying, which is always a good thing. And then the running lights outside, well, obviously there's the port and starboard running lights, but we also have landing lights, where the middle ones are green, a little too far there, and the ones on the edges are red, so you're getting to the edge of the safe area here. And we also have an external connector for large ships that might wish to dock with us, as well as collectors up here for dropping off of cargo or whatever. Antennas, beacons, all the usual accoutrements. So that's what I spent my week doing, and I'm pretty pleased with the result. It's not perfect, but it's a pretty good ship, I think. I'd love to see what you guys have come up with, so feel free to post a video reply or something if you have interesting stuff to show. Until then, thanks for watching.